And I'll go through the readings, and hopefully Garfield will join us in a moment. Malcolm, he might text you while I'm reading, so if you get a text, you might want to just look out for him. Okay. But we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead. Pursuant to, can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's July 16th, 2022 revised order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of a public body, this meeting of the Great Barrington Housing Subcommittee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner. So you just have to let me know. No person attendance of members of the public will be permitted for this meeting, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to MGL 7C38, Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of such recordings. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission from the chair. The listings of agenda items and those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Now, all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. So I'm just going to have a look and see if we see Garfield. Okay, I see him there. Let me just, Garfield, I'm letting you come in. I wasn't able to do two things at once. So we have Garfield.
Yep.
Hey.
I was waiting for you
to finish my spiel.
Right. Yes, and promote me.
All right, great. Okay, so we have everyone here. I'm going to take attendance. Malcolm Fick.
I'm here.
Jeremy Higa.
Here.
Garfield Reed.
Here.
And Lee Davis, I'm here. First of all, I would like to welcome Jeremy Higa to the Housing Subcommittee. This is a real fun bunch. You're going to love it here. We're very happy to have you join us. So, and thanks for everyone taking their Friday happy hour to spend time with us. So we won't make it too bad. So we have some housekeeping to do, and in the past, when Pedro was chair, we had some minutes that had kind of piled up and some minutes that weren't ever taken. So the ones that I was able to retrieve and put up for approval are here. Hopefully everyone has looked at those. I understand that there are two members that weren't here for the October 6th, 2021 minutes. But let's see, myself and Garfield were here. So we're going to look at the October, sorry, I'm just going to play around my screen here. So do we have any, for this, the October 6th, 2021 minutes, do we have any changes or additions? Garfield, it's just the two of us. So
Well, I make a motion that we accept the minutes from, was it October 18th?
October 6th.
October 6th.
2021. Okay. Second.
Okay.
And I guess
I could second that even if I read.
oh, okay, because you were okay. Okay, and Jeremy, you're gonna recuse yourself probably.
Yeah, because I wasn't here.
Okay. Roll call. Garfield.
Aye.
Malcolm.
Abstain.
Lee. Yes. And Jeremy abstain. Okay, moving on to the August 9th, 2022 minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from August 29th.
Okay, second.
Second.
Roll call. Garfield.
Aye.
Jeremy.
Abstain.
Malcolm,
Aye.
and myself, aye. September 20th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we accept the minute from September 22nd, 2022.
It's actually September 20th.
September 20th, sorry.
Do I have a
second.
second? Okay. Roll call, Garfield,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Abstain.
okay, Malcolm,
Abstain.
and myself, yes. And finally, approval. Do I have a motion for the October 18th, 2022 minutes?
Yes, I make a motion that we approve the October 18th. meeting,
Correct.
2022.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call, Jeremy,
Aye.
Garfield,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Abstain.
Malcolm.
I was here for that, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was October 18th. I sure hope so, because you took the minutes.
Yeah, okay.
See,
And I'm
Minutes
aye.
they are. As
Was-
amended,
Okay.
right?
Oh, October
That's great.
18th.
Yes, that was October 18th. Okay, super. Subcommittees, announcements, and statements. Garfield.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Malcolm,
Nothing, no.
Jeremy?
Nothing, but I'm happy to be here.
Yay.
Suggest-
We're happy
Actually,
to
you know
have
what?
you.
I would like to say something.
Yes.
I back it up. I'm sure everyone is aware of the issues that Jonathan and I had. I'm not going to allow that to get in the way. I'd like to move on and move past it. It was an intense situation. I'd soon just forget about it and move on, know it's there, recognize it, but don't want to dwell on it.
Okay. Thank you, Garfield. Yeah, so we're all just trying our best and we're working for the good cause of housing. So yes, I absolutely in favor of that statement. So I don't have any statements either. And so really what we're going to do is have a continuation of the discussion, and leading into that, I think we all want to try to be as proactive as possible, and we don't want to kind of get too stuck in the weeds and go around and around in circles and really, just come up with be a think tank. We, as far as I know, that we'd like to think that we're action oriented and we're able to bring something to the select board, planning board, and or town meeting that promotes, retains, enables, funds housing. So with that, what I'll do is I'll share the housing plan worksheet that we've been working off of. And I will like to give the floor to Malcolm, who sent me a worksheet that was marked up to give us a little nudge in terms of prioritizing some of our thoughts. And the idea is to really focus on the goals and outcomes columns, and really think about what is it what we're trying to do, and have some kind of rationale for sorting out the priorities, and then looking at the high, low, medium impacts, and the effort that's going to go into that. So what I'll do is I'm going to share the original worksheet that was posted, and we'll work from there. And Malcolm, what I can do is also share your marked up version, but let me start with the one so we can be all on the same page. So
Mhm.
give me one sec. Okay. All right, so this is where we left off. Jeremy, did you get a chance to look at this or wrap your arms, eyes around it, or?
Yeah, I did look at this.
Okay, so just to give an overview, this was really kind of a head start, and it was trying to coalesce all the information we have from various sources. So the source, this column HNA, is the housing needs assessment, in case that wasn't clear. And then other sources were if someone brought something they've heard about, or if it was from the One Berkshire's housing vision. That's where some of the begin. So that's basically where that's coming from. And as far as we can, we've added links just so people can find further information. So this is where we left off. And what I mentioned was that Malcolm had gone ahead and looked at the goals and outcomes columns. So if you'd like, Malcolm, I can either show your scratched up handwritten version, or I could pick up a version that started to take your thoughts.
Well, let's maybe you could switch to the handwritten version I did, and then I can describe where I was going.
Okay.
I started with looking at the impact and effort, and I thought the first thing we needed to do is figure out what's the category. Some of the initiatives have a direct result in more housing. If we offer grants to property owners and organizations that rehabilitate or convert existing single-family homes into two-family homes, that's going to have a direct result in more housing. There are other initiatives here that enable more housing. Like most of the planning board things that we do don't directly result in housing, they enable more housing. There's also some of these things here that may not directly create new housing, but take existing housing and make them affordable. So in the goals and outcome column, I tried to identify those things that are really addressing the affordable housing issues. There are some things that are aimed at seniors or other people who may want to rehab their existing homes and stay in place. Those don't create new housing, but they retain housing stock that we might have. And then there are other things that are more for information purposes to try to facilitate either citizens of the town or people outside the town who maybe want to invest in the town to provide information for these people to create more housing. In my mind, in the initiatives that create new housing have a bigger impact than the initiatives that are more information oriented or enabling. The initiatives that create more affordable housing, to me, are a higher priority than maybe things that have more indirect impact, like the enabling and information thing. So that's where I was heading, was trying to identify those things in the goals and outcomes column that really have to do with housing, new housing, or housing retention, or information, or aging in place, or retaining home retention. I think those are similar categories, or enabling, like most of the planning board things are really enabling more housing, but it depends on other people. It's really indirect because it depends on other people coming in and actually investing their money to create the housing. So that's where I was going on this thing. And then where I would see it going from here is then using that information to identify what is the impact, high, medium, and low. And then also taking a look at the effort. Is it a lot of work or is it a lot of dollars? And who would be doing that? And, again, in my mind, and I'm just suggesting this as a process, but if we were able to agree on those data points, then I think it would be a fairly simple matter to prioritize things. And then figure out where we go from there.
Yeah.
That to me, that would be a deliverable from our committee.
Right.
So that's where I was going. So that I just wanted to show you this, and you can go back to where.
Yeah. Any thoughts from any of the members about? Yes, Jeremy.
So I had one thought about that. Do we want to consider also like timeline in this? Because some of these initiatives could like have things happen right away in terms of creation of housing, and some other where they might have a very high impact might take a long time.
Mhm.
And so in that impact column, do you want to should there be something else besides just, because I would assume high, medium, and low impact is like quantitative, right? And
Right.
but do you want to use some other measure with that?
No, I would see maybe adding the timeline to the effort. So it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of money, it's a long time.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a lot, it's not a lot of effort, not a lot of money, we can do it tomorrow.
Mhm. Yeah. And we have an implementation
I would think
column
a
as
lot of
well.
money and tomorrow would probably go together.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, we have a implementation column as well. So if it, if it seems that it's not going to happen, in terms of coming to town meeting or being brought to town meeting this year, we could mark that. But if it looks like something that can really be brought forward fairly quickly, we can at least make a note in that column and say, hey, we're going to push for this year. So that's what the thought is for the last set of columns in the very end. So
Question.
yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is going to take us backwards or not, if we can address it. It's even in our issue. But I guess Ian, is it Ian Roche, who's doing the Berkshire block, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No,
Haywee block, actually.
Haywee block. Is that something that we want to get involved in? Isn't it? It appears, I'll be honest, I haven't been super attentive to it, but I understand that it looks like he's going to be, in his mind, helping people out, but he's not really. And
why do you say that though?
What I've seen or read, it appears that he's making it pretty expensive.
Well, I think he's a developer, right? And his idea is to make, well, he seems committed, at least by his presentation to the CPC, that he's going to make a certain number of units there, and also 243 Main Street, so the old BCC building, and a certain number of units there affordable. Oh. And what affordability level? I mean, I think that can be negotiated, and he's looking for CPA funds for both of those projects for deed restricted affordable units. And the number that he threw around in the presentation or in the packet stuff was like a 20-year deed restriction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Garfield, that's going through the CPC right now.
Yeah.
Whether he's applied for additional funding through ARPA is to be seen, but he has approached the CPC for a certain amount of money in return for making 20% of the units affordable, which would fall under up to 100% AMI for the CPC. So,
do we know how many units? I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it. So 20%.
It sounded like 3 and 5 units.
Yeah,
Garfield.
we're talking
the BCC and 5 in the what is it?
That's in the BCC. Yeah,
I always mix up those two blocks because they're right across the street from each other. I always mix up the names.
Yeah, and that's all that's going to be negotiated, and that's being brought through the process. So we just went through the step 1, and he's moving into step 2. So we'll have more information fleshed out in the next meeting. But both Jeremy and I are recused from or have.
Well, actually, I'm not now. So that was the information that I got. In speaking with the lawyer yesterday, and I'm still speaking with the same lawyer, and the second lawyer I spoke with is going to speak.
Okay.
The first lawyer, because, I mean, it was very interesting. It was, I mean, the first lawyer had a very kind of narrow view of the applied to, but anyway.
So Garfield, to your point, that that comes under or can come under incentivizing developers, or ways to incentivize. So right now, Ian has approached the town saying, if you, in theory, give us, give me money, X amount, I'll not make this market rate, I'll make this quote affordable. So that's the direction, he's going. Now,
I don't want to put
town is proactive, and we actually make the, we set the rules and we say, okay, well, we're going to incentivize developers. It's a little bit backwards at this point, but go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, I mean, I think that's an interesting thing because we already have a lot of things in place in town. And so this is a way that developers activating, what is this? They're not numbered, but on the second page, the second item, deed restriction purchase program, incentivize homeowners. Like that's a program that's sort of in place with, if you count CPA funds into this. And, and so he's sort of using that as sort of the model for this. And I mean, I know the trust has also been talking about something like this as well. And so, it doesn't have to, these things don't have to all like come through directly, through us, but I mean, because they are there. And that's what I was wondering with a number of these things on this list is, there are things in place where some of these things can already happen. Mm-hmm. And this was one that I was like, oh, wait, he's totally making this happen. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I seem to get from his presentation that he's committed to this idea of affordable housing, period. That he would like to get these funds from the town, but he's somehow going to make this happen regardless, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things about like the way that he presented this that fits in with a lot of other goals, and that kind of, scattering affordable units throughout the town so you can't really tell they're affordable units is super attractive to me. And then this type of development is also very speedy. And so that part where these units come online very quickly, to me, it's super exciting. And if a developer like Ian who wants to be active in the town and has a commitment to the town, or seems to have a commitment to the town, it's like, I'm like super interested when mm-hmm. he's interested in affordable housing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a new player on the table, besides our normal like big three. And so it's like super exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. So what we can turn, if it's okay with everyone, I can go to the live sheet so that we can continue with our conversation. Now, what I did was taking Malcolm's lead. You'll notice under goals and outcomes, I translated tried to translate his words into numbers. And what that will enable us to do is when we start to prioritize things, we can then, in theory, sort out each column and, have some kind of ideas or have a way to categorize and group some of the goals and outcomes. So, for instance, here, when Malcolm was talking about creating new housing, let me just zoom out a little bit here. Creating new housing under here, that was given a number 1. So number 1 was new, meaning create new housing. Number 2 was shifting. So that was, moving something that might be market rate into affordable housing. So that's where the 2 is coming from. 3 was retaining housing. So again, using Malcolm's groupings, number 3 would be retaining it. So something that might be affordable now, but it just needs some work to keep it affordable. That's where the number 3 comes in. Number 4, enable it. So I'm going to give you an example of enabling it. So for instance, the curb cuts discussion that might be coming to, that the planning board has brought up, that might be coming to the select board, that would fall under enable, which is number 4. And the clustering as by right subdivision option, that would come under that. 5 is funding. So an example of that would come under possibly this local option transfer tax. So we're trying to find funds to create more affordable housing. So that idea is exemplified in number 5, which is funding. And then 6, which is general info. An example of that is this, the housing symposium that was discussed, and cataloging and prioritizing properties that might be foreclosed or coming to be foreclosed. So that's the thought in terms of these numbers. And it was just giving us another way to start categorizing and looking at prioritizing. So does that make sense? And obviously when we have notes, what I'm trying to do is take notes that everyone has and putting them here so we don't forget. So one note I wrote down was, for instance, with the receivership program that Construct is currently working on right now in Beckett. We helped with Lennox, and we have another property in Beckett right now. Some of the notes might be that it is a slow process. It does need a staff member to administer it. You have to run a lottery. You have to make sure that the owners of the property, don't want to retain their ownership. So it's a slow process in terms of it's one by one by one. And it doesn't mean to deter people, but I'm just saying that's a note that as we start to explore these in greater depth, we might want to just put notes here just so we don't forget.
Lee, in terms of the numbers that you assigned, I think there may be times when you need more than one.
Absolutely.
Especially with number 5. I mean, it needs money, but it needs money to achieve something. So it's either new housing or shifting or retaining. So number 5 should always have some other number with it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these are going to cross over. I started with just the main one and just for the sorting, but yes, absolutely. So number 5 would then lead into, obviously probably building it.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a direct, if we can,
Yeah. So let me,
we can raise money for the Affordable Housing Trust, and that's going to lead to more housing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Jeremy?
When can we also get like an Excel version of this too? Like some of the things get cut off. It doesn't look like but it looks like sometimes there might be some information that's underneath.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we can't share these. This can't be kind of a live document. That's a Google share, which was how it was first created, but I can send you separately in Excel, and you can then all bring it on. And when we, have the meetings, we can all have our own notes. So absolutely. I'll share an Excel with everyone, or a Google Doc. You can change it over.
That would be good. Then you don't have to read my handwriting.
So as you can see, there's quite a few things, and Jeremy, Chris Rembold is copied on this document. He's the only one that's actually live in terms of this dynamic document. And that's really for the only purpose of making sure that we're not duplicating efforts that the town is going through. So he does have access, and I'm very cognizant of the work that the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is doing and the planning board. And especially when we're able to, have these discussions, and especially with planning board members, they're to say, hey, we're tackling this. Or I know with Garfield, there's work going on right now with the tiny homes, right? Yeah. So, which is right over here. And so I think that's helpful to know that, another entity is looking at it, that it's not just going to be falling on, the weight of this committee. But what I'm hoping to do is find something that, we as a group, we feel, or maybe as individuals say, hey, this is something, that I think is doable this year. That ideally what we want to do is we want to have a few items that we actually bring to the select board and or the planning board and say, okay, these are 3 items that we think are doable this year that we can bring to town meeting, but this is what you need to do. So it's, either the select board, taking the lead, or the planning board, or a combination of the two. So that's what I'm hoping for. And when we look at this together as a subcommittee, I know it's still really in the early stages, but is there anything that you can see that's kind of jumping out that we should start taking a deeper dive rather than just kind of skimming over and saying, okay, well, we have, 20 really good ideas. And that's one of the reasons why I have a priority column, not to say that that's the only one, but something that we feel like, hey, this might be doable for this year. This is something, we can bring before budget season starts and bring this as something that we want to bring. Has everyone had a chance to kind of look over this, or is there anything that, for example, one thing I was kind of looking at was, some of these home rule petitions, whether it's the local option transfer tax or number 21, which was the expanding the property tax relief for low income seniors. So this will take lobbying, this will take legislation, this will take someone, writing something that they can bring to town meeting. But it's doable, but it's just something that it takes homework. But if it's something that this committee, feels that, we should explore and prepare, it might get shot down. It might be a bad idea, but at least we can say, okay, well, we're taking a deep dive. Those are the two that kind of stuck out for me in terms of, taking a deeper dive without really rocking the boat too much. Just looking at the pros and cons. I'm not saying that to go for it. Is there anything that you all see on this list that kind of screams out, yes, let's take the lead?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was the home property for the seniors?
Yes.
Is that something that's kind of being done or is gone through the senior tax deferral? Is this something?
No, it's it's something that I had, and here's the link. I'll go. I was just reading about what Boston had done, Garfield, and they took it upon themselves. And obviously this is something to see if it can be translated to Great Barrington. This is something Boston did, but they had a home rule petition. And they did two things. One was increasing the limit for senior housing and also adding a local option tax. So this was something that caught my eye, and I would be willing to do further research. But it seems something that, if we can get everyone behind us, this might be something that we might want to explore. So this is the program. It's on the housing, the worksheet. So if you want to click on that link, Garfield, you could find this this article yourself. But basically, it's increasing. It's taking the existing 41C program that provides tax assistance already to seniors, and it's increasing the exemption. Now, in this case, it's only going from, I shouldn't say only, but it's going from 1,000 to 1,500. And according to this, you can go from 2,000 to 3,000. So there's obviously some homework we would need to do to see, first of all, does this translate to Great Barrington, and how much can we push it, and what are the, what are the impacts, both good and bad. So it's something that we would have to explore. But that's where this came from.
Well, Lee, what I'm hoping that we can get done by the end of the year is get this worksheet done.
Yep.
There may be some low-hanging fruit that we could say, but I'm not sure that you've identified low-hanging fruit. It looks like these are.
Yeah. This was just something that kind of stuck, that looked at me. That's not, I guess it may be in my mind.
I think you have to put the effort levels on these.
Yeah. So. Do you want to go through that? So those are the two columns I have not explored. So maybe if you want to, as a group, start going down here and filling this in. So target blighted properties to create new affordable housing units. Effort, high, medium, low.
It's hard to define, but I'm not sure what I'm not sure what this means. I mean, target blighted properties so does that mean the town would buy the properties and,
Yes, so it's a receivership program. So the town would have identified properties that have tax liens that are able to fall into this receivership program. So the Attorney General, and I could be getting this a little mixed up, but the Attorney General would be aware of these properties and assign a receiver to drive this through, to take it and sell it as affordable housing unit to income qualified buyer. So it's basically taking a blighted property that's no longer generating any taxes because of a tax lien or just because it was abandoned, and appointing a receiver that would renovate it and then run a housing lottery, and all the same, all while making sure that the person that does own the property doesn't want to take it back. And once it gets to that point, then it's up for a housing lottery, which is basically selling it to income qualified buyer. So it's quite a long process.
so this
It's run by
is-
the Attorney General's office.
Okay, so this is creating new affordable housing units through the AG's Abandoned Housing
Correct.
Receivership Fund Program.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the town is not a receiver right now. So right now, the construct is, but town, municipalities can be designated as receivers. We have not gone through that. So
Okay.
So
And
with
if
that
we
one-
were, if we were designated as a receiver, then we would have to then buy the property, or it would just be given to the town for
We'd
as
have
part
to-
of this program?
Yeah, so we'd have to acquire it, but the bigger part is we'd have to renovate it.
Right.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, someone would have to renovate that.
Yeah, so that's the difficulty. I mean, I think with this one, I think we should talk to the normal stakeholders and see what kind of interest, do they have a high level of interest? Does contract have a high level of interest in acquiring these kind of properties? Does Ian have any sort of interest? It seems like Ian's too big of a developer for this sort of thing, but
Yeah.
are there entities in town that are interested in this sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, what's happened with Construct is Beckett, the town of Beckett came to Construct, and then we took that over. The town of Lenox, same thing. They needed help with two properties that they had. So
You mean the
the town
town
identified.
acquired the properties and
Yeah.
then the town turned over the properties to Construct for renovation?
And we administered the.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, that's an interesting thing. I don't know how much the town's going to want to get involved in being a,
Yeah,
in the renovation, but
Yeah.
if all we have to do is acquire these, I mean,
Well, it's just, we would have to manage the construction. We would have to manage the lottery. We would have to be working with the courts, checking in with the AG's office to make sure that all the checks and balances are there. So it's quite a lot of staff time. So, we can put a note but I did want to make everyone aware that there is this program out there.
Is there
Does
enough blighted properties in our town to make it worth putting an extreme amount of effort into it at this point, or do we want something else that might be a little more fruitful or can come to fruition easier than?
Well, I think what we've done as a town historically is, when there is a tax lien, you will put it up for auction. And which, we just went a few properties were put up for auction recently, and it's usually to the highest bidder. And we're just happy to put it back in the tax rolls. But we could, instead of just doing it to the highest bidder, we could claim it for ourselves and say, well, this would make a really good affordable,
yeah.
or this would make a good family unit. So it's really to kind of be the first in line and identify a house that could be a good affordable housing unit.
I think it's great. I mean, particularly, where the locations make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is great. And by make sense, what I mean is it has access, it has easy access. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great idea blighted properties in general I mean, I think that's super popular in a sense with the town, that, most town folk want to see properties not be blighted. And so,
Yeah,
there's that. And then to turn around and say that, okay, the town has this mechanism to be able to, turn these units into affordable units. I think that's great.
I mean, like a good example is Stonegate, which has over, I think, $200,000 of back taxes owed, and we're just trying to find all the owners. It's a big timeshare, so that's a big monster. But that's something that's on the town's radar, and if it does ever get cleared up in court, that I would hope that we would be the first ones in line to create that, create affordable housing out of that, rather than have that sold through an auction to the highest bidder. So.
And so in terms of the effort involved in the differentiating the to auction model than to affordable housing, like how much more effort does the town have?
You want to put in it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
That's how much do we want to put in it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the difference between these two, right? Like how much more effort does the town put into it? I'm not talking about like the renovation and all that. I'm talking about just simply, how much more effort to turn these, like to make these available for affordable versus to just make these available to be sold at auction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other example we could look to is the Grove Street property, right? So that had a tax lien. The town, it was auctioned, right, Garfield, and it went to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which then turned it over to Habitat.
Yep.
So that was a mechanism that we prevented it from going to the highest bidder. The town actually stepped in and kept it.
How did that happen? Like, so why? So that didn't have to go through the AG?
No, that was a property that the town was able to take over.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there are ways for the town to control it so it doesn't, once there's a tax lien or once we have control over it, we don't need to sell it to the highest bidder. So there are other mechanisms, but I don't want to get too caught up on that. But I think that's what's worth exploring, and what I think would be useful is, how many properties do we have that are in danger of, that are blighted, that what might be coming on stream in terms of either auctioned. Sorry, Garfield, what were you saying?
I was just saying that was my question. If we only have one or two, then maybe there's that was my reason for asking if we had enough to put a full effort behind it, or is there something else we can, because we seem to be looking for something that we want to put our efforts in first, second, third kind of thing. And so is that worthwhile? What I
might do is, what if I flag it and we, there's a way to see, how many properties are kind of in the endangered list.
Well,
but let's continue. Go ahead, Michael.
I think this is an illustration of what we have to do, which is we're gonna have to do some work offline.
Yeah.
Each of us is going to have to do some work offline trying to define what these things are. Yep. Because we just spent, 15 minutes on this. If we spend a meeting and only go through 4 items, then we're not going to get anything done.
Exactly. Yep.
So if we all another suggestion I have on the list, Lee, is to actually add a column with numbers.
I was just kind of thinking that.
Even if it's just sequence numbers, so we can identify, so we can refer to item number 1 or item number 11 or item number 15.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many items there are, but maybe if we all took 4 or 5 items and tried to flesh out what they mean and how they would be run and how they would be implemented, then we can come up with a level of effort and a timeline. But I think Garfield's point is very good, is that, we don't want to prioritize something high if there's not a lot of return on it. I think that's basically that's what I took away from your comment, Garfield, is that if there's only 1 or 2 properties, why are we wasting time on it?
Exactly.
Or if there's only 1 or 2 units. I mean, that Stonegate, I mean, maybe a bit, there may be, I don't know how many units there are in that building, but I mean, that may be a big property and may be worth the effort by itself.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
heard they had to find 600, they found the 600 owner.
I don't know.
I know, I think it's still a
True.
work process, yeah.
It's still working about it. Okay.
Okay, so that's a good point, Malcolm. So one, just going through this list, I mean, we can either look at the effort column or we can look at things that speak to us and like Malcolm suggested, we all take different strategies and say, well, I'm going to do a deeper dive and bring it back to the subcommittee.
I think that's the only way we're going to get it done,
Okay,
is if we all give some thought to
divvying it out.
2 or 3, even no matter how many, even if it's only 2 or 3, at least it will be something to bring back. and
So what
discuss.
if, like this column, I'll add a numerical column, but if we just, put initials and we start assigning members, or they volunteer to look and to do a deeper dive, like, for this, it might be, meeting with Chris and getting a list of any properties that might be coming, that might be
Well,
coming.
it's also talking with you and finding out how much work it is for
Yep,
construct.
and
to do
copy,
this.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if we want to do that now, we could, if everybody wants to take a look at them, and then by the end of next week, everybody gets back to you on which ones they want to tackle.
Mhm.
I know
So
you-
I mean, is there anything that anyone knows right now, looking at the list, that they feel strongly enough that they want to get a head start, that they want to put their initials down?
The whole list, right?
Yeah, like I had mentioned this, I can put my name on, what was the other one? The 2 home rules. I can find them. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm definitely interested in this page 2, the second one, this deed restriction thing. But I mean, I'm interested in like how we can use existing funding. I mean, some of these, it's like where we're going to get the funding for this. I mean, that's the bigger concern. So then, some of these relate to others because they're the funding.
Mhm.
Well, that's part of the, due diligence, is that whoever's assigned to it would start looking at this and would bring back to the subcommittee, okay, this is what we need in terms of funding. This is the level of effort. I did some further research and this is the reality of it. With the Vail, the Indeed program, they have quite a lot of money. So if you think of, if it's 20%, let's say 20% that you're paying an owner to have this deed restriction on it.
Well,
And-
it was
I mean,
like
that's generally kind of what they were doing, was
their tax base is totally different because of like the amount of commercial tax they're getting is just crazy, right? And
so
our homeowner tax, and so I think,
even if like that would be a really good thread to explore, John, Jeremy, is would this actually work for us? Is it too expensive? Does the town have $500,000 to purchase X amount of houses? I mean, this is great. I mean, it definitely deserves a deeper dive, but we would need someone on this committee to do that.
yeah,
So,
I mean, I'm
okay.
definitely interested
All
in
right.
that one
All right, so we got Jeremy on that one.
because I think we do, but
I'm happy to look into this, and Garfield, if you want to work with me on this, or I can just, this is the senior.
and you'll number these afterwards so I can.
Yeah,
refer to
I'm gonna number it. Yeah. I'm very I'm a novice on spreadsheets, even though I look like it's even though I look like I'm a pro.
You're doing
Yeah,
good.
I'm always
You're doing very well.
impressed when the person
I haven't
clicks
sorted.
one button and all of a sudden they're all numbered.
Yeah. I don't dare do that now, so that's why I'm not even trying. But I will
I
put.
would help you with that.
Okay, so let's. All right.
I mean, I don't
And
know.
obviously, it can all move around, but I'm just trying to get us a head start so that we feel that, okay, this is kind of my homework.
I mean, I'm interested in the blighted property thing because I like the idea of, scattered affordable housing. So, and that
Okay.
sort of fits into that model.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a lot there. So like, I'll definitely start off with the, where
Yeah.
are the properties?
Okay. Excellent. I think that's really good.
And I wonder, I mean, there's something about that because it's blighted properties or properties that, I mean, with where interest rates are going, I mean, does that mean we're going to see a bunch of, defaults in the future?
Mhm.
Because, people are just going to have these interest rates where are they going to ever be able to pay these homes off? And anyway, so
Yes.
hopefully people aren't buying under those circumstances, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
But yeah, I mean, I think even just starting to say, on the radar, what are on the radar? What's, how many are we
Yeah.
talking? Because we'll
Yeah.
have quite a few. I definitely have people saying, well, there's, all these, there's an abandoned property on this street and it's been there for many years. And there, a lot of people are wondering, well, what's actually happening with these properties? So,
Yeah.
okay. So Jeremy, you are down for two. You got big ones too.
I know.
Malcolm, do you see anything? And
Yeah. I'd like to take a look at the details on the ones on page 3 that deal with the home rule issue.
Okay.
There's 2 of them there, and we could throw in the ADU one too. Those the offer ADU and tiny home incentives, the home rule petition and the home rule petition.
Okay.
What was the first one, Malcolm?
Those 3 right now.
So it was
okay,
the
cool.
30% rule, right?
No, not the 30% rule.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
I'm not interested in that one. The home rule petition one's up. Oh, you're going to do the one home rule petition. Okay.
Yeah, I
You're
was
gonna
going to do
both of
this
those.
too. Was there
So
another one? So you want to do
You
the
know
time?
what? Give me the match. Give me that one and give me the matchmaking.
Okay. And that was literally, Malcolm, I mean, other than what's there, it was kind of pie in the sky thinking, so.
Yeah, I know.
Other than that, I kind of threw it out, but I thought it was a good
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea, and I'd like to explore it
Yeah.
more.
Good. Okay,
See if anybody has anything out there.
great. Garfield, do you see anything, or do you just want to kind of work on we'll work together on the senior housing and the 41C?
We can do that, but that's kind of fast, and I don't actually have the notes in front.
Oh, you don't have it? Okay, sorry. So let's go. So we have, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So we have,
There was one other one.
we have the target, the blighted properties, incentivizing multifamily repairs, offering grants. There's a lot of incentives that we haven't really touched. Offer grants.
Mhm. I think we're gonna have to do this a couple times.
Yeah. I'm
So
just
this would be the
The
first.
offer grant seems interesting.
yeah. Catalog. So this is actually very similar to the other one with the blighted properties, Jeremy. Cataloging, prioritizing and targeting tax foreclosed.
Yeah.
So it's really the same.
Yeah,
so why
It's
don't
really
we
the same.
combine-
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we?
I thought that was part of the.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the
That
first
is,
one.
so that we can get rid of this one.
Or we can add it just to the first one.
Yeah. Well, I think what it was, my idea of here was this is number 1, which I'll label these shortly. This was more the receivership program, whereas the other one was just generic cataloging. So whether it was more geared towards auctioning, so
see.
they are a little bit separate. Yeah. So I just have to do a better job at saying what this is. So I'll leave this off with receivership.
The offer grants to property owners and organizations seems pretty interesting. And I'm also wondering, besides each taking a little homework, if you will, something like this isn't something that we want to move up the list. I don't see we have what are we calling this? It's new, I believe. Is that what we have?
Yeah, which one was this?
This is your offering grants to property owners and organizations.
Yep.
Isn't that something that?
Yeah, number 5. Can you guys see this number 5? Can you see the numbers on the
Yes.
side? Okay, okay, so let's just go with that. Offer grants.
I don't know how we're gonna fund that one,
Yeah, that's a funding.
and it's a hard one.
It's a hard one. Yeah. That's a hard one.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if there's any grants out there that we can tap into. I don't know.
Yeah.
Offer grants. So Garfield, are you more interested in the conversion of, converting single family to 2-family, or is it the grant part of this that interests you?
Probably the fact that the grant
Okay.
offering.
Okay. Do you want to explore this and maybe talk to whomever?
Yeah, I probably would talk with Chris on that, I think.
Okay. I mean, at least, we can start the process, all of us in our own little silos, and then bring it back to the subcommittee.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we'll have to do. And then we'll
Yeah.
have to, next meeting, we'll have more assignments.
Yeah, yeah.
So we get it all done.
Okay, I know it's 6, so I'm gonna wrap up. This I thought was really interesting. I'm kind of, now that I'm getting old, starting to focus more on the more senior housing. And so this is, creating local aging in place. And I kind of saw this almost hand in hand with, you're giving seniors a tax break, you're enabling them to stay in their home, you're giving them a grant to provide modifications in their property so they can age in place. So I almost see it as related. So this is another one that I'm going to assign to myself.
I wouldn't mind working with you on that one myself,
Great.
and I think I would
Okay.
probably speak with Vivian.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is something that would be great to, work with Polly and the senior center and just, what do we need to do to create opportunities for people to age in place, and what do they need, other than tax breaks, and, what can we do to facilitate that? So that's great. So we can do that together, Garfield. All right. I think we're making some progress. So what I'll do is I will assign some numbers on this, and so we can talk and make sense, but we have our names on it. So I think this is a good start. And, just thinking about budget season and timelines, I don't want to lose track of what we're trying to do. And we're going to start, looking at talking, we had the tax classification hearing on Monday, and then we'll be in budget mode starting February. Obviously before that. So just looking ahead, it's already November. We really only have a few more meetings. So I'm just cognizant of that, how much we want to get done between now and then.
Yeah, Lee, start getting them used to that idea of that $500,000 placeholder each year for affordable housing in the budget.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll put that in my list. All right, so let's start wrapping this up. In terms of setting up the next meeting, we'll go to citizen speak and media speak, but setting up the next meeting, everyone has difficult schedules. So do you have any sense of what works for everyone?
I'm good after the first week in December. December 7th and on.
Okay.
What-
So Jeremy and Garfield, what's your availability during the day?
My standard week is I work Monday afternoon through evenings, and then Tuesday through Thursday days until at least 4:30. So I'm generally free on Fridays unless I have some sort of appointment, and then and early on Monday mornings, but I have to be at work at 12. So I don't know if it's a really early meeting.
Oh, on Monday. Garfield, do you know, have a sense of what your schedule's like, or is it?
I
pretty-
don't, because it's going to be changing. I'm going to doing something different now at Taft.
Okay.
And I'm not quite sure what my schedule is going to be at this point. I'd like to keep it the same, which is Wednesday through Saturday, which leaves me Mondays, of course, for the select board. Tuesdays it's fairly open for me until you get a little closer to Relay for Life. But right now,
Mhm.
Tuesday might be one of the better days. Thursdays, I think sometimes we have affordable housing meetings, so it's hard to say when that is, the second or third Thursday. So I'll be Tuesdays, and Wednesdays we're meeting for a CIF, so that's not such a great day. I don't think I want to do this. Even though I don't have a life, I'm not sure if I don't want to do Friday evening again.
Yeah, this
mean-
was special. This is just to welcome Jeremy.
Thanks,
I mean-
Jeremy.
Tuesday
I
would
mean,
work for me.
Yeah, Tuesday's
Okay.
good for me too.
Okay, so we got Tuesday. So what time? Because I will certainly,
Well,
Be
it has to
flexible.
be after Jeremy's work, so.
So if it could be after 4:30.
when you say
So
after 4:30, could it be at 4:30 or 2:30?
5. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, probably 5 is more safe for me.
Okay, fine. Okay. And the CPC meetings, I guess we're waiting to see how
Yeah,
that,
I mean, we have
the Lake
didn't
Mansfield, I have
we-
Lake Mansfield. too.
Yeah, we don't really. Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
We
well,
could-
let's, how about Tuesday, Tuesday, December 6th?
Yeah, I can do the 6th, actually. I said the
Okay.
7th, but I can do the 6th.
Okay, so let's look at Tuesday, December 6th. What time works for you guys?
5 for Jeremy.
Yeah. So 5 p.m. December 6th, Garfield?
If I
Yep,
am not
that's great for
working,
me.
5 p.m. would be fine.
Okay, all right. So
You know what?
yeah.
I mean, if you want to set further meetings out, because then the CPC just has to go around our schedule, right?
Okay. Okay, so Tuesday, December 6th. Just knowing that we're on such a time crunch, we do it every 3 weeks, or I'm just,
Yeah, that's
I
good.
guess, let's see, 1, 2, 3. How about January 3rd? So Tuesday, January 3rd.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. At
Let
5.
me
about you guys?
Hold on one second. Let me put this
I don't know.
Tuesday, January 3rd. Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay.
I
All right.
should
So we
be able to
got
do my
December
manual
6th
writing.
at 5 p.m. and January 3rd at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Um,
That's just 2 months at a time, right? now.
that'll, yeah, exactly. That'll, all right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, super. So we got
Should we
that.
send those to Chris?
Yeah. I'll make sure that everyone knows about this and we'll block our little time there. Let me stop sharing so you guys aren't looking at my, all right, we've pretty much put everyone to sleep. So let me open it up. Does anyone else have anything else to say before I open it up to citizen speak?
No,
Okay. Okay, so citizen speak, I see James. So James, you are promoted and you can talk.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is James Guardzone,
Afternoon.
84 North Lane Road.
Hi.
Just a couple of comments and about providing the funds to developers, which is great because we have buildings that need renovations. And I'm going to use Mr. Rash as an example. We gave him the funds for the Maui block, which had 12 affordable housing units. He's going to create 20, which 20% is going to be set aside for affordable units. So maybe 4, 5 that are going to be affordable out of the 12 that we've lost that were affordable, which is, great, but, we lose some and we gain a building that is rehabilitated, that is in dire need. My suggestion is maybe with the age in place discussion, one of the problems we have is these people need help to refit their homes. Maybe these developers that we're giving the money may offer some reduced rates or some help to these age in place people that need work in their homes, because one of the problems we're having is getting people to do the work. So just a thought, an idea how to help these seniors change their homes so they can age in place. And that's my only comment about giving a developer, high praise for making 20% affordable when we're losing more affordable housing stock than we're getting back. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Okay. So we have media time. We have Shaw from The Edge and Eileen Mooney. No. Okay, so take a motion to adjourn.
If I can I just
Yeah.
say something first?
Yeah.
I kind of agree with the gentleman, James, a little bit in
Yeah.
the sense, and I know I might have gotten all that information correct, but if we're losing 8 affordable houses, that's not ideal. If his gentleman's coming in, but he's only going to make 20%. Yeah, I was wondering what that's going to be. If you're going to have 3 or 4 when you had 12.
Yeah.
So
Well, the reason they're
it's nothing
affordable
to beat
now
the
is because
band of
they're falling down, Garfield. I mean, that's what
Exactly.
they're
Yeah.
affordable.
Yeah.
It's because they're a mess.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You're right, they're probably a mess, but there's someone's mess who needs that mess, if you will, to live and to
Absolutely.
exist.
Understood.
So still,
Yeah.
you're still losing 8 places, whether they're meet our standard of living or not. They're important to the people who need them. So if you're losing 8, I don't think that's anything to write home about or be excited about. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
So this is, so I wasn't going to comment, but now I feel like I have to comment. So, yes, but, we're going to lose those anyway. Like at one point, are those units going to become unlivable? And, are we going to have to come in as a town and shut them down? And so,
Yep.
right.
They're like wonderful things, I mean,
Exactly. And
I mean, there were people living in wonderful things, and it was low cost, but it was also dangerous.
yeah. And if we're really concerned about this as a town, then we need to put the money there, meaning the town needs to come in and create affordable units, to have this idea that, a developer buys, a building with X number of affordable units. So let's say 12 affordable units, but I mean, I think there's 12 housing units in this, and they're going to create 22, and they're going to make 5 of them affordable. I mean, so the net gain in housing, we're getting a lot more housing out of this thing. It's a good thing. I mean, and I'm excited about that. I mean, I don't see the town lining up to put their money, meaning us as taxpayers, to put our money to create affordable units. And in lieu of that, I don't know what we're expecting. I think we have unrealistic views if we're just going to think affordable housing is just going to miraculously appear without somebody, doing the work. And we're very lucky as a town to have some, some organizations that, we're super lucky, and to have a new entity, arrive that wants to do affordable housing. I'm super excited about that they're not putting 12 in the place. I mean, it's, sure, maybe we could create 12, but it's going to cost the town that much more money. And so if we want 12 affordable units out of that, let's put up the money for it.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
we have leverage that the town definitely has.
Let's sit there in CPC and say, hey, you know what? We're losing 12 affordable units. We're going to give you X amount of dollars so you can do 12 affordable units in there. And let's, you can have 10 market rate and we'll have 12 affordable.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think this is a discussion for the step 2 process on the CPC, because these are the questions that will be brought up and should be brought up. So Garfield, I welcome
this idea that the affordable units appear without money is just, a dream. Like,
I don't think I certainly don't think that.
Yeah.
That you're going to appear with a dream, but just the fact that you have someone. Well, maybe we can move this on because we can go.
Yeah. Let's. We weren't going to have a big discussion, but let's just, we'll note that it's on the housing worksheet, so it's fine to talk about it. But I don't want to get too caught in the weeds right now, especially with Ian coming back to the CPC for the step 2 discussion. So I want to keep it narrow the focus, but it's something to keep aware of, and it is on the work.
When is the CPC meeting?
Yeah, it's
it's a doodle poll.
Yeah, we're doodling it right now, but
Hasn't been set
it's
up
for the
yet.
step 2, but he will be coming in forward. So let's hold our discussion, knowing that that's going to be happening. Okay, so I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, Jeremy,
Aye.
Garfield,
Aye.
Malcolm,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, great meeting. And I will see you
So,
guys December
thank
6th.
And all the public,
Yeah,
and I-
yeah.
public and our, for attending.
Yeah. And so what I will do is I will share the Excel version of this, which it won't be shared among us at the same time, but I'll make sure that everyone gets a copy so you can work on it yourselves. And I'll also post the meeting so the town knows of the upcoming meetings.
By the way, just caution to everybody, if you make changes to the spreadsheet, make sure you identify that you've made the changes so that Lee can actually merge things in together.
Yeah. So ideally what's going to happen is when I send you the Excel, highlight what changes you made so I can, bring those on to one thing. So,
Like in a different color.
so we have, actually, Eileen, one sec.
Oh, would you send me the spreadsheet when you send it?
Absolutely. Is a PDF okay, or
That's
do you want
fine.
it? Okay, absolutely. We'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Sorry.
Night.
Dark, totally.
Bye.
Yeah, you were in the dark, Jeremy.
And thanks for taking minutes, Malcolm. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Bye.